Good morning. I'm Pete Najarian. This is The Take for Market Rebellion. And wow, what an incredible week we've had. As a matter of fact, looking forward to, and you must understand, especially in the derivatives world, what this means when you're missing a single day. And we have Friday, obviously, holiday. We got Independence Day coming up over the weekend. So something that we're all going to be very excited about, and we'll address that a little bit later on. But you have to have that knowledge. You have to have that understanding. We talk about education all the time. It really does affect the options world, the derivatives markets, in a big way. Obviously, pushing things around a little bit, and shortened week certainly does affect those options in a big, meaningful way. And that's something that really has to be understood if you're going to have as much success as you'd like to have trying to navigate these crazy markets. Now, pre-market yesterday, we're down about 100 up to about 250 points to the downside, and really getting some pressure. So some heavy duty, we're talking triple digits, and you get a couple hundred points to the downside. There's some concerns. All of that got reversed immediately the second we heard that Pfizer news and the idea that the potential for a vaccine and what it looked like so far. And we've heard this and seen this on other occasions as well. This really flipped things. We flipped all the way into the green. Markets were trading really nicely throughout the trading session. As a matter of fact, the Dow got back over 26,000. But final 15 minutes, another theme that we've been seeing time and time again, that small segment of the end of the day, whether that be the final 2 hours, 1 hour, half hour, in this case, 15 minutes, some of these big moves that we see in a very, very short time frame. Yesterday, the Dow actually dropped about 100 points off of where it was just in the final 15 minutes. So really big impact yesterday late, and some of that selling pressure. Now, one of the big positives yesterday, obviously FedEx, their earnings. We've had a couple of these type of things happen recently where we've had some surprise earnings. FedEx certainly surprised. Their numbers were extraordinary. The stock had one of the biggest moves, I think, maybe in the history of the stock in a single day. But that was a monstrous move regardless for FedEx to the upside. So that certainly was something pretty interesting, and actually helping a lot of the individual Dow type stocks all playing off of that. And that was really a big, meaningful move yesterday, I think, out of FedEx, dragged up UPS and a lot of the others that are in that sort of space. Now, utilities, a lot of fear at times. A lot of folks move towards utilities. That was up about 2.5% yesterday, but the energy space didn't really trade very well. As a matter of fact, you look at the XLE down a little over 2%. So little pull there. And the thing that really stood out, I think, yesterday, the NASDAQ actually still held on to those gains. It was up about 1% yesterday. A lot of that coming from Netflix and Facebook and Amazon and Tesla, and a lot of the big names, some of the biotech names, some of the healthcare names, obviously affecting as well, moving to the upside. The area that's been so strong, where we did see a little bit, I don't want to overplay this, but a little bit of weakness yesterday in the semiconductor space. And, Xilinx and Western Digital and Micron and Microchip, those kind of names. Just a little bit of weakness yesterday, but the volumes also an issue, relatively speaking, because really monstrous volumes, but in relative terms to the month, it really had pulled back significantly in terms of volume. And a lot of that is to be expected when you see a shortened week and people looking ahead, starting to pull back, because that's part of the options world, is time and time decay. And that is part of things. And a lot of times folks maybe pull back a little bit earlier, especially in anticipation of seeing more of that as you get into Wednesday deeper and into Thursday. So those volumes were a little bit lower than we've been seeing, but still a major number, about 27 million trading yesterday. So still not so bad. Volatility index certainly was something interesting yesterday. Closed near the lows again, towards that 30 number once again. So that was interesting. But coming into today, everybody looking forward to these unemployment numbers and the employment numbers, all the rest of the jobs claims, all these different things. Every week we're looking at all these various numbers because they have been so extraordinary. And some of the turnaround also has been extraordinary. Well, the payrolls added 4.8 million. Now, they were expecting 3.2. They got 4.8 million. Market reaction was exactly what you would expect. We already were in a market that was trading positive, but this absolutely just gained even more steam. Matter of fact, the markets at the higher end, they were well into the upper 400s. Now we're about 1 hour into the trading day. We're up about 265 points still very meaningful move to the upside. We'll see if we hold on to that, because as we know, we can watch this market and we know how fast things can move, how fast things can flip around. It's amazing sometimes how quick that can happen. Now, the Dow really was leading. It was up about 1.5%, where the NASDAQ and the S&P were both up about 1%. That was in the first 15 minutes, half hour of the day. Now that we're about an hour into the day, all the major averages up about 1% right now. Now, the VIX actually did pull all the way back, trading in the 26s. Right now, trading a little bit over that level, around 27. But a lot of that could be, and I oftentimes think, pricing forward, and by doing so, that volatility is going to pull back just a little bit more than expected, and that's exactly what I think you're seeing right now. You got oil still holding on to that $40 level. I'll tell you, Tesla, the deliveries, each and every day. So yesterday we were talking about, it was a day that really a lot of the focus towards the FedExes of the world and that sort of space. Tesla, just unbelievable. The delivery numbers, absolutely extraordinary, impressed the markets. Stock was up about 7% last I had looked, and over $1,200 a share. Now, let's not forget, this wasn't not too many months ago, this stock was trading in the 200 range, and actually even a little bit below that. And yet, Tesla has persevered and continued to push, and a lot of different reasons why right now that Tesla's just had an incredible run to the upside, and hats off to Elon Musk and the group over there for what they were able to do and push out those deliveries, because that was an extraordinary number, far better than people had expected, much like the jobs numbers. Now, the Dow leaders early on, give you industrials, you got Boeing, you got Dow moving to the upside. You got the energy space as well. Got oil over 40. You look over at Chevron and Exxon, they're actually very impressively moving around in the Dow. And then the financials, Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, American Express, all of those in the positive, at least early on. And again, market's up about 260 points, but still dealing with these virus numbers and some of that. And that obviously is playing into the perception of the markets as well, because as we've seen, some of those that have opened up and then some of it being shut back down, very impactful. But the NASDAQ right now, you're looking at powered by a lot of the typical and what you would expect type names. So you've got Wynn in the casino space moving to the upside. You got Marriott in the hotel space was moving to the upside earlier. Norwegian and Royal with the cruise lines moving to the upside as well. So all kinds of different movements and pressing things around. NASDAQ is still holding on to about a 1% move. It's been a little bit higher than that, so that's pulled back a little bit along with the Dow and along with the S&P 500. Now, I mentioned gold, I mentioned oil, really is pretty meaningful, and I think it's worth noting that gold held on to that 1,700 number very nicely. Gold got up over 1,800 recently and still hovering, but it's not there. It's underneath 1,800, but hovering and pushing around that level. But we have had option paper leading into some unusual option activity. Option paper in the GLD has been bullish and very aggressive and very right over the last, call it, week and a half, maybe even a little bit longer than that, where we've seen this really big pickup in GLD in terms of people positioning. Some of it very short term, some of it a little bit longer term. Just the other day, we had the August calls, the August 170 calls, large buyers there. Today, however, we're seeing the July next Friday, so July 10th, expiring calls. And GLD is trading around 166 right now. It's interesting to see these calls being bought. So aggressively positioning in GLD once again and looking for more upside. This just continues to be a theme that we see more and more, and that's been a heck of a move when you watch the price of gold as it's moved to the upside. Will it be able to break through 1,800? It's going to probably need to get through those levels to start moving some of these options, because a lot of them have bought even more recently, with gold trading a little bit higher and above that 1,750 area, closer to 1,800. Now, I mentioned Independence Day weekend. That's what we've got in front of us now. The 4th of July, everybody looks excited, gets excited about that. I already got on the beach shirt. I'm ready to go. The boat, we're all excited about what's going to be a great, long, and extended weekend that you'll always look forward to with the holiday. But remember what it is. It's our independence. It's how we were able to break away, and it's a great celebratory moment, I think, for all of us, and appreciate what everybody does and the excitement that people have going into the long weekend. Market Rebellion, I know our guys are excited to get a little day off. We're all excited about that, so it should be really something exceptional, and I want everybody to be very, very safe. That's the biggest, most important part about these weekends is, they're exciting. You look forward to it. You don't want to overdo it, and I'm just saying have a little bit of caution out there, understand some of the risks, just like in the markets. You've got to understand the risks and you've got to really judge how much you really want in terms of risk and understand these markets, guys. Market Rebellion, we got the best educators in the industry. Check them out. They are fantastic. I'm Pete Najarian. This is The Take. Enjoy your long weekend.